Welcome to the Hangry Games Arena, where Kelly Brewster, the author of What's Eating You and host of the Hangry Games, is shaking up the weight loss world. She's providing you with tons of resources and helpful tips to obtain your long-term wellness and weight loss goals once and for all. The Hangry Games is recorded and produced at Open Space Studios.
Hey, Hangry Game Nation, how are we doing today? It is so good to be back in the saddle with you guys today. How have y'all been doing? I pray everyone has been having an absolutely great week. You know, I kind of think Louisiana weather is going through a little bit of perimenopause. We've had a hot flash for a few weeks, and then we walked outside to a 50-degree drop in temperature, sleet and hail coming down. I was like, what's going on? I feel like we literally felt like we were in like the Twilight Zone. My poor plants, they don't know if they should bloom, shed. They don't even know what's going on. So with all that being said, I pray you guys are having a good week. It's been interesting here. So what we're going to do, I know we talked about some takeaways from last week. I hope in regards to those slips, trips, and pitfalls, you found some really positives from that you've implemented some strategies that, worked for you in the past. And that you were able to put those positive measures in place when you were tempted with those reactive choices and have since made that part of your ongoing artillery, right? So I found something that works and I've put it into place so that I can use it in the future because we want to fight those future temptations, right? So here nor there, that's not why we're here today though, right? Oh no, we are going to be talking today about the benefits of weight loss today. Going through the last few months, which I can't even believe it's been a few months doing the podcast. I mean, we're talking about like the 9th and 10th podcast. This is crazy. But what I realized is that if you don't understand and don't know why weight loss is so important, then gaining that aha moment may be a little bit more difficult to get to. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to spend a little time on this because I do want you to understand, obviously, what weight gain does to our bodies, but how easily just the littlest bit or littlest percentage of weight loss and how that can actually have a big benefit for you. Obviously, at one point in time or another, we were all a healthy weight or BMI, and we can recall how we looked, but more importantly, we can recall how we felt, right? The ability to move well, sleep well, even engage in social activities better, are just some of those things that we can remember. But somewhere along the way, that grim reaper called weight gain finds many of us, and then he drops those unwanted weight on us, and we're left trying to figure out what we're going to do with all these newfound friends, right? Well, it's kind of funny. Like my husband and I kind of have this joke that we share. It's a little story I'm going to tell you. So before I started dating my husband, before the emotional monster decided to make my mind his entertainment room, I was a very, very avid and competitive tennis player. I literally played tennis about 4 times a week. I even took boxing to improve my footwork in tennis. I know. It was a little bit of an obsession, but now I'm obsessed with pickleball. I was very athletic, very fit, very toned. Well, once I started dealing with the emotional eating and the subsequent weight gain, I obviously couldn't fit in any of my old clothes anymore. And so one day I was kind of doing a closet purge, and I came across one of my favorite tennis skirts. I walked out of the bedroom. I had put it on and I walked out of the bedroom. I wanted to show him. I was like, look, I had it around my thigh. That's right. What once fit around my waist was now around my thigh. And yes, we couldn't help but kind of laugh about it. But a part of me deep down in my spirit was so discouraged and depressed about the body changes that had kind of occurred over time. I realized that getting back into that skirt is really unrealistic. I know that, that's not ever going to happen. But that type of mental exercise that I did can certainly help me find that aha moment, right? And that's really what we got to get to. So just to give you a couple of little statistics here, we've talked about this previously, more than 70% of adults. Now, we're not taking into account any kids here, really. This is just adults are overweight. 2/3 of our population right now are considered obese. That is defined with a BMI of over 30. Now, most of us do not live under a rock, right? We realize carrying that extra baggage can be detrimental to our health. And finding a way to implement the strategies for healthy weight loss and finding a realistic weight loss goal can sometimes kind of be daunting and maybe even downright tricky, right? So, Kelly, what are the benefits? If you're going to sell me this strategy, right? Okay, so what are the benefits? I want to know. What's in it for me? We're not all going to be Victoria's Secret or GQ models, and we know that, and it's okay. We don't need to be. But remember, I was always the Amazon among the Barbie dolls. Just remember this: healthy doesn't always have to be skinny, and skinny doesn't always equate to healthy. Yes, we would love to see you at a healthy BMI, but more than anything, at a healthy weight that allows you to do the things that you've had trouble doing in the past, the things that you can enjoy day to day now, and further have the ability to do the things you've always wanted to have the chance to do in the future. And that's what's so important. So what I'm going to do is review with you today how weight loss, even as little as 5 to 10% of your total body weight, can have a significant impact on your overall wellness and long-term health. And it all starts with the heart. It does figuratively and literally, but it all starts with the heart. Excess weight is a key factor in coronary artery disease and strokes. So believe it or not, every pound of fatty tissue that you have contains additional blood vessels that has to force the heart to circulate blood through that fatty tissue as just as much as it is to any other part of the body. So not just to the organs or to the muscles or the brain or the heart and all that other stuff. It's got to circulate to that fat tissue as well. And it's miles, or several feet, I should say, of extra small little blood vessels that are there. And this tissue just requires additional oxygen and nutrients. So when you've got to carry additional, blood through the body and this tissue too, what's going to be the ultimate result of that? Well, to compensate, the blood vessels will often constrict to accommodate that demand because it's got to hurry up and get it out. Okay, so it shrinks those blood vessels down so it can push it out at a greater force. And that can lead to high blood pressure, which affects the amount of oxygen that actually gets to the rest of the body. So because it's so worried about getting oxygen to the fatty tissue, you may not get as much oxygen to the heart or to your lungs or to the other organs of the body. Excess weight can also contribute to some clogging or narrowing of the arteries, which are the vessels that carry oxygen through the body because of the increase in the LDLs. Now, there are no test questions today, just to let you know, okay? The LDLs are your low-density lipoproteins. I call them, these are the low-down fats. They're the bad fats, okay? And I call these guys, when you're talking about food, the LDLs are usually going to be found in your F foods: fried, fatty, fast. Does that cover all the culprits? Pretty much. Okay. So when the blood vessels narrow, it increases the further risk for heart attacks, heart failure, and even strokes. All in all, the more fatty tissue we carry, okay, again, the higher our BMI is, the more strain this causes to the circulatory system. Just remember, though, the littlest bit of weight loss can have an almost immediate health benefit for you. I have seen on more than one occasion, which is amazing because I love seeing this, a patient who's had lost a moderate amount of weight, and they've been able to actually transition off of their blood pressure medicines, especially when they actually added exercise to the equation. So guys, you don't even have to be on as much medicine and take things that are going to have side effects when we can get down to that healthier weight and implement some exercise strategies as well. Another big issue is joint pain when you do have a higher BMI. The stress of the excess weight gain can wear the joints down, causing a lot of inflammation and and according, believe it or not, this is really crazy. According to Harvard University, when you walk across a level ground, so this is not even incline, this is just walking on a straight level ground, the force on your knees is equivalent to 1.5 times your body weight. So if your BMI is above 30, the pounds per pressure could be detrimental to your joints. So let's just look at an example, okay? So let's say that you are 5'3" and you're about 200 pounds. Yes, you're overweight. We're not, that it is what it is, but that's it, okay? For every step that you take, it is the equivalent of 350 pounds of pressure along with the walking and everything else you're doing, but it's 350 pounds of pressure on your hips, on your knees, and on your ankles. Now, this is just pounds per pressure along with walking and just doing some simple household functionings. Think about this. All of these things that you're doing can cause significant pain and swelling in the knees and the ankles, which then affect your circulation. So if you don't believe me, try loading a toddler up 2 flights of stairs or carrying your 10 bags of groceries at one time into the house. And that's not even close to 1.5 times your body weight. You're going to be hurting, right? You're going to feel it. So can you imagine how your joints feel after having this 1.5 times the body weight pressure constantly pushing on those joints? It is going to create some long-term effects if we don't put some plans in place. So, of course, just the littlest bit of weight loss can make the biggest difference in how your knees, your joints, everything else feels, and even with the swelling as well. Another big issue, for individuals with excessive weight gain is sleep apnea, which is just bouts of interruption of your breathing when you sleep. Now, we all know how important sleep is in helping your body to kind of metabolize and just for the restoration alone. But more than that, we certainly know how important oxygen is for survival, right? If I'm not breathing, I'm not getting oxygen. With that being said, if you got several bouts of obstructive sleep apnea throughout the night because of an increase in stomach weight or maybe an increase in weight around the neck, you aren't getting adequate restoration, impeding that oxygen that could be getting to the body, or even worse, the oxygen that could be getting to your brain throughout the night. It could just take as little as 10 to 15% of your body weight, a decrease in that, to improve your sleep and to reduce the frequency and severity of those apnea episodes. And again, the other thing we know about just sleep and so forth, 7 or 8 hours of good rest and sleep can actually improve your ability to lose weight. So it is kind of something that's a little difficult for somebody that does have a higher BMI. You may even have to speak to your provider to talk to them about some sleep apnea equipment, CPAPs, things like that, because you want to encourage that 7 to 8 hours of good sleep with minimum apneic episodes so that we can actually have the weight loss that can help us with the apneic episodes, right? So it's kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, but we want to really fix that process, and not just temporarily, we want to fix it more permanently, right? For me, I think the big thing that I want to talk about today is I do see a good bit of metabolic disorders such as PCOS, insulin resistance, and diabetes in my clinic. This is excess body fat causes inflammation and can interfere with the pancreas's ability just to produce insulin, and even how the body can recognize this hormone, the hormone it's actually producing. Insulin is a hormone that does assist in the breakdown of carbohydrates into sugar, which is what we actually use for energy. And we talked about that in the calorie episodes and all that. So I'm not going to, go back over that again. But with PCOS and insulin resistance, these are kind of conditions that you're going to see before you develop diabetes. So let's say you were diagnosed with insulin resistance and you're like, nah, I don't have that. Nah, they probably misdiagnosed me, whatever. And you just keep doing what you were normally doing. You don't change your eating plan. You don't exercise. You don't do any behavior changes. It is what it is. And over the course of time, you start to develop impaired glucose intolerance. Think about it, kind of moved along this kind of parameter here, okay? So you're still like, I don't care. I still don't have it. Still not doing anything. It is what it is. I'm good. And then, because you really haven't had the aha moment, right? And then you're eventually diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So the way that I describe diabetes, it's a lot like a shark in the water, okay? Just because you don't see the fin above the water doesn't mean that he's not swimming around in the pool. So just because you don't see body changes or problems occurring or anything like that doesn't mean that diabetes is not affecting your body negatively. Type 2 diabetes is a silent attacker. It can affect your heart, your circulation, your eyes, even the nerves in your body. You can have what's called neuralgia or pain in the nerves. It's just this constant pain at night and mostly at night. Just the littlest bit of weight loss can provide tremendous improvement in this condition. And in many cases, with enough weight loss, it can even reverse the condition in the body, which is awesome. So type 2 is that acquired diabetes, something that we get because of our elevated body mass index. Whereas type 1 diabetes is more juvenile. It's something that you've developed earlier on in your life. PCOS and insulin resistance, especially with a BMI that's greater than 30, has been associated with an increased issues with fertility, as well as usually kind of affects more of like the egg quality. And in some cases, it can actually increase the possibility of early pregnancy loss as well. Additionally, it does cause us to maybe skip cycles, maybe have 2 cycles in a month, have a little bit of increased hair growth on the face, the chest, the stomach, or the inner thighs, maybe hair loss, acne, a gamut of things, weight gain in the midsection. I can actually teach a whole couple of hours on that. In fact, I have a video series on it because I've talked about it so much. But, all of these things can be addressed and reversed when we can drive that BMI below 30. So many times in my practice, when we're managing patients with PCOS that desire fertility, we want to work on that BMI first, especially if it's over 30. And then fertility kind of naturally improves in the process. So another benefit of weight loss, right? I had a patient one time she was about 35 pounds overweight, and I started working with her on her weight loss goals. And because she ultimately wanted to get pregnant, and as she was losing weight, you could tell she came in for those follow-ups, and she was dressed a little different. You can tell that she had a little bit more pep in her step, and she just had developed more confidence. She was exercising and doing a lot of really awesome things. And lo and behold, she shows up on my schedule for a positive pregnancy test. And I walk up in there, she's like, "Oh my gosh, Kelly, I can't believe I'm pregnant. I was getting so good. I was almost at my target goal." And I said, "But remember what your target goal was from the beginning. Your target goal all along was that you were going to have a positive test. And here we are. This is awesome." And she was ecstatic, really, to say the least. And honestly, it doesn't get any better than that when in regards to patient care, when you can help somebody not only feel better and see that weight loss, but to get to the ultimate desired outcome that they started with in the first place. And that is a motivator, not just for them, it's a motivator for me too. So some other organs that are affected with an increase in body fat is non-alcohol fatty liver disease and even gallbladder disease, believe it or not. And so with sensible weight loss, with a lower fat diet especially, it can reduce the potential for this to occur as well. I think one of the other things, of course, that is of a little bit more concern is with excess body fat, there is the possibility for an increased risk associated with some cancers. Now, although there's not an exact link that's been identified, many experts believe that fatty accumulation around those vital organs can cause inflammation that can attribute to certain types of cancer, such as breast, liver, kidney, and even pancreatic cancer. In addition, experts have studied the correlation with a healthy eating plan and the reduction of metastatic cancer, which is cancer that spreads to other parts of the body. So we really are what we eat. So when we can put healthy eating plans in place, we can in fact reduce the chance of cancer growth or maybe even the prevalence of cancer, which would be incredible, right? Just by making better choices over time. So one topic that I know can be sensitive for people that I of course have no problems discussing is how excessive body weight can affect sexual function. Now, some research notes that this can affect the hormones, the estrogen and testosterone in the body, which lowers the sex drive. But other factors that research don't talk about is how people feel about their weight and how that affects their desire. So for instance, when I'm talking to patients, it's not uncommon for them to say they really don't want to be intimate with their partner because they're just uncomfortable with their own appearance. Basically, they're like, I don't like what I see in the mirror, so they're not even getting a peek of it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure I can get an amen in the house if I ask for it, right? So as you can see, there are many conditions that can be prevented with just a small fraction of weight loss and working towards your weight loss goals. Just remember, you didn't gain the weight overnight and you're not going to lose the weight overnight. Realistically, just focusing on that 5 to 10% weight loss can have a tremendous impact on your overall wellness and long-term health. It is truly important to know the why so that putting the proactive plan in place can become more realistic for you. Now, I know you want to fit into those skinny jeans or be the talk of the town at the next high school reunion, but it's far more important for you to have a BMI and a healthy weight that sustains you and to gives you long-term health. All it comes down to is just feeling better, having a better mood, and more energy to do the things you want to do, right? And by just losing that little bit of weight, it can definitely drive some of those positives into your life. We just want to be the best version of we just want you to be the best version of yourself. Not everyone's going to be a Victoria's Secret model, and that's okay, right? But be the best Amazon, right, that you can possibly be. So, you know what I'm saying? I know this was a heavy topic today, but without knowing the why, doing the what, okay? So without knowing the why, doing the what becomes far more complicated to just even develop. So what are my takeaways, Kelly? Yes, it's already that time again. I'm so glad you asked. I want you to look at your family tree, your history, and really look at it and see if there's any specific conditions or disease that is prevalent in your family that could be affected by a heavier weight. Maybe cardiovascular disease, maybe high cholesterol or lipids in the body, maybe high blood pressure, heart attacks, strokes, whatever the case may be. And, identifying if you are having any of those issues that we discussed so that the prepping for you, that prepping the new you can be successful to achieve. When you know those things in your life that can be the obstacles and you proactively and prep for them, it's going to create more success for you in the long run, right? You can do this. You can do this. Not just for your partner, not just for your kids or for your family, but for you. What we want more than anything is that weight loss will lead you to a fuller, healthier life. Make sure to utilize the tools that we have at prepforit.com. It provides you to help a plan for some weight loss, maybe give you some resources and tools that can help you along the way. Because what we want is for you not just to achieve weight loss, but for you just to feel better, folks. I pray that you guys have a great week. Remember the small steps that can make a big difference in your journey, and that I want you to truly know that the odds are always in your favor. Have a great week, and I will see you soon.